Hey everybody, Max here, and today I'm finally getting around to reviewing an Animal Warrior of the Kingdom. I have had my eye on this line for a while now and just haven't gotten around to purchasing any figures. Well, Spiro Toys, the manufacturer of the AWOK line, their website, they have a sale going on. And I checked it today. Today is what is today? March 26th, 2025. And I've had this figure for a couple of weeks now. And I checked it today, March 25th, 2025. And they're going for $24.49. Normally they're about $36.99, $37.99 off of their website as well as BBTS. Thanks to the tariffs, at least we're blaming it on the tariffs, the prices on BBTS have gone up. So the standard figures now are about 40. Um, make of that what you will. So purchasing, if you've never gotten any of these figures before, you can purchase them for cheaper. The first four waves, I think, as well as some accessory packs. I could be wrong about that. But go check it out. SpiroToys.com, $24.49. That's what I got this guy for. Checked it today, and it's still at that price point. So this is a good time if you've thought about getting into the line to jump on that while the prices are a little low, while they got the sale going on. And but we're looking at LEXION today, and this is the figure that really sold me. I mean, like I said, I was aware of the line, but this was the figure that really popped for me. And so this was the first one that I had my eye on him, and it went on sale, and so I purchased him from the website, and here we are. And in a lot of these figures, they've been reviewed, and you've probably heard about the quality, and it's there. I'm telling you that there's some really good quality in these figure lines. So, but it comes in this box, and I like the open packaging and everything. Pretty simple. It's got pretty good artwork. I haven't read the comic yet, the digital comic. I probably should just go ahead and pull the trigger on that too. They've got like 5 issues, and I've seen some samples of the art on other reviewers' channels and stuff, and it's pretty good. So I'm a comic book guy myself, so the storyline sounds really interesting. I've always kind of liked anthropomorphic characters like the turtles and Usagi Yojimbo and that sort of thing. So this is kind of right up my alley. But I've kind of been more to the military side of stuff, classified action force. But I got to say that I won't get every figure, but I know I will pick up. I'm kind of more interested in the feline and the canine figures. So, although I do have so they've got some new avian figures coming out. I've got some of those pre-ordered, as well as the rabbit figures. So I've got those pre-ordered as well. So I'm kind of and they have. I wish I had pre-ordered them because now the prices are higher. The lizards. So they've got some lizard characters coming out this year too. So kind of missed out on the original price point there, but at any rate, the quality is really solid for these figures. So there's the box art, pretty cool. Much prefer boxes to blister cards. But let's dive into the accessories. He kind of comes with a lot in my opinion, and the weapons are fairly well detailed. You'll see these weapons with other characters as well, other figures, but this kind of shotgun-y kind of looking thing. I don't know if it's laser or whatnot, but it's kind of a mixture of technology and magic, kind of like Masters of the Universe, I think. And but this looks really cool and pretty good detail, pretty good paint. I've seen this figure or this weapon with other characters painted differently, but it's got wrap around the stock and the grip, and it's really solid. I'm talking really solid. So not bendy at all. However, there's a trigger that I had to actually cut it out because I couldn't get the finger to line up. There's not enough space. So it ended up warping the trigger a bit, and I just took a hobby knife and just cut the trigger out. So nice little attention to detail, but it actually kind of gets in the way. So I cut it out so that the fingers can get in there. But really solid there. Really cool knife. Holy moly. Lots of detail, and this is hard plastic, so it's for older kids. I wouldn't give this to a little kid because some kid's going to get themselves, it's not going to cut you, but it'll poke you. So lots of attention to detail there. You know, some scuffing and scoring and scratches in the metal, and that's really solid. And it's really just wicked design. I'd think twice about fighting somebody with if I saw this knife. Um, and so I think it's this kind of molded in this plastic and then the silver paint, and it's done very well. So um, there we go. So that's really solid. And then he also comes with this really cool crossbow. Now the bolt does not remove, and it doesn't come with any extras. There's some flexibility to this old school trigger, so, but it's, you know, molded to look like wood, and then some paint, some silverish paint, kind of looks a little dulled, you know, so it's been used, so it's not bright silver, not brand new or anything. Got this wicked broadhead on the end. I think they're probably, you know, it's got some strapping that is molded in there, but I think they just kept it all brown. I mean, granted, that probably would be brown anyway, but I think it might have been cooler if they had added a little paint there. But on a whole, it's also, it's got some flexibility to it, but it's not brittle, so that's great. And it's got this kind of, I don't know, this kind of bone contraption here. I'm not exactly sure what it's supposed to be, like some kind of crustacean or something. And but on a whole, it's a really solid weapon, and it fits really well in the hand. So all the weapons fit very well. He also comes with 2, 4, 6 pairs, six hands. So 3 pairs. He comes with right and left open hand. So I've got the left open hand on him right now. He comes with left and right. I guess this is supposed to be a trigger finger hand. The plastic on the hands is actually fairly hard, and there's a molded groove in here so that things will fit better, so that it'll hold better. I think I've seen this on a Thor figure, so he can hold the hammer better. So it's got a little extra attention to detail there. But if you're going to try and manipulate the plastic, I would probably heat it up first just to be careful so you don't end up breaking it. It doesn't feel brittle, but it's got some rigidity to it. So just be careful of that you don't break it off. And there's in the attention to detail, just the knuckles, the fur, the claws, you know, the interior of the palm. There's just a lot of attention to detail with regards to these figures. So, and the joints are very smooth. This kind of has a ratchet effect like what we've seen with a lot of other figures with the ratchet or the peg system, the wrist peg system and everything, but it's good. I really like, there's some rigidity to it, but it's not, you're not going to break the peg getting it to move. So, and then he comes with 2 left and right fists, and they have the same kind of attention to detail as the other hands. So that's really cool. I may take a Gundam marker and add a little black to the fur in some places on this figure. We haven't done that yet. The figure itself, just really, it feels just sturdy. There's some heft to it, and it makes me think they're using some top quality materials, and that may be why the prices are higher. And let me see. I got a Batman figure. It says it's a 1/12 scale figure, but I would say they're almost 110, maybe 111. So this is kind of a, I mean, I was surprised at how, I was expecting 112, so I was expecting more like classified, but back to back with this 7-inch Batman figure, it's more like this is more like a 7-inch. You know, from ear to ear, he's a little bit taller, and he looks a little bit broader too. And let me get a let me get it classified. I meant to have one handy. Um, I'll be right back. Okay, so here is Lexion next to Gung Ho, which is pretty much one of the bigger classified figures, and he's definitely taller and a good deal broader too, just about. So yeah, these are, it says 112, but I say it's more like 111. So this is more like a 6.5 inch, closer to 7-inch figure. So pretty bigger than I thought. And then here's Storm Shadow, and so he's a smaller one, or a more standard size, more of the 6-inch scale. He's not as big as Gung Ho, obviously. Gung Ho is just massive. So yeah, so definitely bigger. So if you get a lot of classified, these guys are monsters. I mean, I wouldn't want to meet this guy in a dark alley or a lit alley or anywhere, because he's a bad guy and a bit of a traitor to his species. So, but anyway, head sculpt is really good, and the ears are not, it's very, very sturdy. They're not floppy. The plastic doesn't, as it tapers to the point, it doesn't get softer. So it could potentially break. So I can see why, again, why you wouldn't give this to a kid, a small child. They'll definitely poke somebody's eye out with these, but the sculpt is very good. On the fur, around the mouth, the eyes, yellow eyes, orange irises, more feline. The paint on the spots is very well done. The fading here on the ears. And I've always liked, I'm not a cat person per se, I'm allergic to cats, but I've always liked lynxes, bobcats, which is what this particular character is based on. So he's got pretty good range of motion in the neck. He looks down that far, he looks up that far. There's the neck and there's a ball joint, disc hinge. So here, which I like the floating neck and the disc hinge. I think that's a good combination. However, this one, there's a bit of a gap right there in the neck, and that always kind of bothers me a bit. It just kind of breaks the symmetry of the figure and the kind of the willing suspension of disbelief. But anyway, other than that, looks like he has throat cut. Pretty good, and it's a little stiff in the neck, so most of the which honestly is okay. I'm honestly fine with a fixed neck. The way it's designed, he can get pretty good range of motion. He turns all the way around. There's some tilt. If anything, the neck is a little thinner, but you know, he can, you know, so he's got this kind of space right there, but it's a minor, it's hardly even a gripe. It's just, it is what it is. I'm just pointing it out. And I think that they probably, with characters with a lot of fur, they probably had to design it this way so you get the range of motion. So that's really, that's cool. Other than just the neck gap right there. But yeah, he kind of goes forward and like that. So the shoulder armor on this side is, you can take this off, you can pop the head off. It is removable. Lots of detail in the studs, the rivets, and it feels sturdy all the way around. Even even on the back, they didn't skimp on the paint, so that's really cool. The molded chest piece, that is not removable. That is a part of the figure. There's a lot of good. The color scheme is good. I like the earth tones, the browns and the oranges, and that looks really cool. Kind of an interesting contrast to the gray and the black of the fur. There's even some brass coloring there for the clasp, what have you, the ring there. The only gripe I guess I have with regards to the shoulder is that this is, obviously this piece comes off. You can take that off if you want. This piece does not come on. It is pegged in there. I suppose you could pull it out. I haven't really risked it, but you could probably peg it, pull it out and take it off, but you're going to have this gaping hole in the shoulder there. And it does limit the range of motion, the upward range of motion. It's pretty thick. It's a little pliable, but it's also thick. And as a result of that, it's a little hard to maneuver. So you're not going to get a decent T-pose. You can probably see it right there, that peg system. So there's that. You can maybe work it a little bit. It is soft enough and pliable enough that you can just be careful. So I can get it to about right there, and then it will eventually mold back to where it's supposed to go. So, but the design of it is really cool. I like the ridges. There's scratches, indentations. That's the thing that really kind of stands out for me. This bicep piece is molded into the arm, so it's not floating around. I would have liked to have seen a little more paint right in there to kind of just make it more uniform on the top and bottom, but that it is what it is. And obviously, since they're pins, they painted this part before they assembled the arm. So I would have preferred a little extra touch of paint right there to cover that up as best as they could. Because even though they have pins, I gotta say that they're not glaringly obvious. I mean, yes, they're there, but they're kind of the way they're utilized. And for the most part, this one kind of pokes out a little bit, but they're fairly flush. They're not too big. Like say the McFarlane ones, I always kind of feel like the McFarlane ones are a little bit on some of these figures. They're just too big and too obvious, too much of an indentation. But there's a little, they feel a little more smooth, like more flush, so that yes, you see them when you look at them, but they're not glaringly obvious. And then on like say the gauntlet here, it covers it up, and then paint covers it up as well. There's you can take this off. You pop off the wrist. You can take this off, and but for the most part, it is what it is. The articulation on the arm. Now you can go all the way around with this other arm without any problem, but with the the other free floating arm. Now, granted that you can get it out of the way, but it goes all the way around. So, and then you can bring it back. So you can pose him where you want and then move it. And it's fairly flexible. It's not, I feel like there's some posability. I wouldn't stretch it too much and you probably would break it. Everything has its tolerance, but easy T-pose on this one. Actually, probably more like a Y pose. And there is a butterfly joint that is fairly, it's good, it's fluid. It's just there's this part of the arm or chest armor gets in the way, but he goes back fairly far well. There's also a couple indentations there, so that also gets in the way a little bit, but it is there and fairly fluid. That's something that I would say for the joints on these figures. It's very fluid. They're not loose. The butterfly joints, I wouldn't classify it as loose. There's just a little extra give there. And you get a pretty good range of motion on the double jointed elbow as well. And the wrists are a little, you probably have to work those out a little bit, but they rotate around and all that good stuff that we're used to. Fur paint looks really good. Has a ab crunch, which some people might not care for. But he bends forward fairly well and back very well. And it's not floppy. It's really good ratchet. The tolerances are really tight right in here. So, there's not a gap, and it stays. And then there's also waist swivel, and there's enough of a give around the skirt piece that it doesn't resist. So there, and then there's also a little bit of a kind of a side-to-side motion you can get. So you can rotate it. So there's probably it's a ball system that we've seen like in diaphragms, the new diaphragm cuts on some, like say Marvel Legends and Classified and a few others. So, or Action Force. Really good. The skirt, really good paint, brown and gold. Good plates. It's very good, very pliable plastic, and made in China. So that is probably why the price is going up. So you get really good splits, and has no drop down hips, which I'm okay with that. I'm not a big fan of drop down hips. The skirt piece kind of does get in the way a little bit, but you can get, let's see if I can, yeah, you can get about a 90-degree kick, and then there's pinned double jointed elbows, or I should say knees, and there's that. And there is no boot swivel, which I'm actually okay with. It's the thigh swivel. That's the hill that I die on. So it's really good thigh swivel. Lots of really good molded fur, really good paint, even all the way up in the hip area too. So even though it's covered with a skirt, they went all out. And it has the kind of standard ball joints, which works just fine. Seen that with Action Force and Classified. Let's see, the greaves are, you'll have to take the feet off to get them off, but they will come off. And there is really good range of motion on the feet despite the straps getting, being right where they're at. So you can even, it's pliable enough that you can get the foot to go forward that far, and then it has a good ankle rocker. And the feet, clawed feet, furred feet, pretty good, pretty good. And the greaves have some good paint and texture to them as well. So yeah, this is a really, really solid figure. The only gripe I have is that gap in the neck. That's really, really the only thing, and maybe the this arm guard here, shoulder guard, maybe being a little thinner, or maybe a little. Oh, there you go. Okay. Oh, the peg is, well, that's even more unsightly. You have a big peg coming out of the shoulder. So so taking that off. Oh, I hope that's not a hard. I don't have a hard time getting that back on. So there's that. So that's the only thing I would quibble about, and maybe just a little extra paint right there after they assemble it. That would have been great. So I'm going to try and do that myself. But arm guard over here, similar, same as this one, but just different color. Okay, guys, I'm sold on this line. I don't think I'm going to be able to afford a bunch of these, but I got to say that I will get a few here and there. I've got, like I said, I've got some on pre-order. I have one other that I'm going to review, and so be on the lookout for that one. I'll be it's Mongrel, so the hyena looking one. So those are the two that really stood out, LEXION and Mongrel. So I'm going to be doing him next, so be on the lookout for that. I'm going to give this guy a warp factor of 9.5. Yeah, this is a really solid figure. Good materials, good paint, good design. Would I like to see pinless? Sure, yeah, but it doesn't really stand out. Except for, where it's quite obvious the paint differentiation, the color differentiation. So yeah, there's really nothing much to complain about. And on a whole, I really think this is a really cool looking figure. And so I'm going to give warp factor of 9.5. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Do you have this one? Are you into this line? Is the price hike, is that putting you off, or are you going to continue with the line if you were hip deep into it already? Are you a lifer when it comes to AWOK? Let me know. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe to the video. I just passed 150 subscribers. I really appreciate all of you for sticking with me here at the beginning of my new channel, and I've been doing this for a few months. And so yeah, let me know what you think, and I will talk at you guys next time. Take care.